If there is no taboo on research, on judicial system in Pakistan, I believe the entire human suffering in Pakistan, economic malaise, social malaise, and all disparities are because of malfunctioning of the judicial system in Pakistan. If I am right, please include this aspect in your research as well.
Thank you.
The point is that when we have talked about the systemic failure of the institutions, the rule of the law or the access of justice, all are the things which have been pointed out. In the initial, probably you were not there when we were talking about the first chapter. I think we had extensively talked about how or what is the nature of the failure or the systematic failure of the institutions in Pakistan. So I totally agree with you. That is the piece to it that has been referred to in the report.
Excuse me, I have a question. After doing all this research and covering different aspects, in terms of your research, especially covering the different areas like Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which is the most affected one, militarily, economically, what do you foresee in the next 5 years? Where will we be heading on? Not politically, but in terms of economics, in terms of strengthening ourselves as a nation, reinventing ourselves, because we presumably, the part of my generation, think that we stand nowhere now at this stage. It's only a ray of hope which can take us somewhere. People are looking towards that. What your research concludes ultimately in that particular view. Thank you.
For the economic side of it, I'll give it to Asif Iqbal or Mr. Javed Jabbar. Okay, but remaining I can say if you want.
Definitely, I can see a ray of hope for one light here. काफी चल रही हैं. There's lots of light there. Inshallah. Economic perspective.
Economic, basically this, the economic perspective, we have not focused on basically economic, macroeconomic indicators, just touched upon in this report. But of course, there, I mean, as you see, you will see in the report that we have discussed that the economy is facing many challenges.
That's the challenges. But where do you see that where it is going to stop?
Oh, where is going to stop?
Is it going to further deteriorate economically, militarily, or socially?
Public finance person.
Thank you. The answer lies where should be our fiscal priority depends.
We are printing 2 billion rupees.
Yeah, one of the things is what we are printing, and what we the other thing is where we are investing. If the top priority is still debt servicing and security related expenditure, then we are not going anywhere. We definitely hang on in this situation. But if we make right choices, we invest towards the economic sector and social sector, then the macroeconomy would change and go in a positive direction. So it depends.
Sure.
Thank you.
G, please go ahead.
Can we just have the last question, please, because we're running out of time?
जी,
Thank you.
दो और जी, आपने इब्तिदा की थी और आपका आखिरी इंशाल्लाह वो का एक मौसू जी फरमाइए इधर जी बाद में डॉक्टर साहब को उधर एक और तशरीफ फरमाएं उधर जी
So my name is Saif Asif. I'm from the Federal Chamber of Commerce. I remember, Professor, you mentioned something about women bearing the brunt of such calamities whenever they occur. I think it's very important to point out that besides women, another very marginalized sort of element of society is minorities, religious minorities in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and then within minorities, I guess, female members of religious minorities. Have you talked about that in your report? Do you have anything to say about that?
You know, when I say that the gender differentials of the sufferings needs to be seen, उसमें अमीर भी आते हैं, गरीब भी आते हैं, मुसलमान भी आते हैं, ईसाई भी आते हैं, पारसी भी आते हैं, यहूदी भी आते हैं, सब आते हैं. So ये जो हम, I don't know, why do we have a tendency of bracketing real things religion-wise? That's not a very, I think that is something which that is a mind frame which we need to get out of, if at all. The gender differentials needs to be seen across the board, no matter which religious community they belong to, which class they belong to, social strata do they belong to. The important thing is that the gender differentials needs to be seen.
Just to speak for the oppressed audience, I just felt that perhaps he meant it well in the sense that it's bad enough to be a woman in Pakistan, but if you're a non-Muslim woman, you are at an even greater disadvantage. Because to be non-Muslim in any case is at a disadvantage, relatively speaking, except of course there are many, mashallah, non-Muslims who are amongst the most prosperous businessmen in Sindh in particular. A very small number. But I agree with you, non-Muslim women is truly discriminated against class. It's going to be very tough to persuade the managing director of SPDC, she's a very tough cookie, to accept your perspective, but I shall certainly try. Okay.
Yes, this is just kind of a comment. We were talking about economic future of Pakistan.